Microphone number 3 is back to Michael.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael Sanderson with items 3 and 4.
Howdy again. Just a quick comment. Just a couple that rang up and said that people are using the meeting for airing personal things. I don't think that's the case. I think that's a misrepresentation. If they're worried about the length of the meeting, there's always a webcast they can refer to. And if they've got short memory spans, I publish each individual question individually on my YouTube channel.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay,
have you got a question for us?
Yes, I have. I have 2 for remuneration. I've got one for the other one, but anyway. APRA has forced ANZ to hold an extra $1 billion in capital. ASIC has imposed about $240 million in penalties for widespread misconduct. The union describes ANZ as a bank in crisis. ANZ's own material says the executive committee still receives about 65% of their target short-term bonuses in the year these problems peaked. 2 major proxy advisors are again recommending that shareholders vote against this report. Is this just a pay framework that rewards a small group at the top while everyone else wears the cost? Can ANZ spell out the exact circumstance in which every member of the executive committee would receive 0 variable pay for a year?
Thank you, Michael. Well, in fact, if you go to page 53 of the annual report, we're outlining that other than some people in acting roles and CEO of New Zealand, none of the executive committee received a short-term payment this year, short-term variable payment this year. And we've outlined clearly the way we look at LTVR, long-term variable remuneration. And again, in Holly's letter on page 53, we show how we have forfeited those rights and applied malice where appropriate. So actually, we have been quite active. I would also say this is a bank that certainly has issues it's working through, but it is also a bank that is well positioned for the future. In terms of the acquisition we made at Suncorp, which we managed to get approved despite initial regulatory disapproval. We've recently doubled the synergies we expect to receive from that purchase. The technology choice we made in Plus, other banks are only getting into their technology choices now. Likewise in the institutional bank, where we've made significant technology gains, and the refresh in leadership and the board that I talked about. So the bank has its challenges, but is also in a much stronger position to create value and generate growth.
Thank you for that. My number 2 on the remuneration, sorry, you get that wrong. Now, rather than use a complex data to question your very generous remuneration, I've opted for a simple thought experiment to members of the board. Consider you are one of 6 people on an island. There is a builder, an engineer, a teacher, a doctor, and most importantly, a labourer, and yourself. What would you offer the other 5 in return for their services? And what would entitle you to an average of 380% more of the island's real resources? The board has not demonstrated competent oversight. Why shouldn't shareholders view the current board remuneration as insulated, disproportionate rent extraction?
So I'm going to end up repeating a previous answer, Unlike criticism of some other boards, this board has been leaning into issues, setting clear objectives, agreeing strategy, supporting management in getting there, and stepping in when management is not delivering, and making the necessary changes and enforcing accountability. I won't go over it all again, but this is a board that's been doing its job and has positioned the bank today with a refreshed team, a refreshed strategy, and well positioned for growth.
Yeah, I think if you applied that rationale to the other boards you refer to, they'd come up short as well.